Have you ever felt that something in your body was different, but you couldn't explain what it was? Not pain, not a lump, just a quiet feeling that something had changed. Most women who later discover breast cancer say that deep down, they sensed something long before any doctor found it. It wasn't fear, exactly. It was awareness, like a whisper under the noise of daily life saying, "Pay attention." The truth is that breast cancer doesn't always announce itself with a lump. Sometimes it hides in silence behind tiny changes that look harmless until one day, they aren't. There was a woman who used to start her morning rubbing lotion on her skin. Same routine every day. One morning, she noticed that the skin on one breast looked slightly uneven, almost like it had tiny dimples when the light hit from a certain angle. She thought maybe it was from her bra, or that she had scratched herself without noticing. A few weeks later, the texture was still there. That was her. First warning: no pain, no lump, just a small change in the skin. What she didn't know was that the skin of her breast was reacting to a blockage caused by tiny cancer cells pulling from underneath. This is why I need to talk to you about the silent signs. Because too many women still believe breast cancer only shows up as a lump you can feel. The truth is that it can show up in ways so quiet, so gentle, that unless you know what to look for, you might miss them. The first of these signs is a change in the skin. It may look thicker in one spot or take on a texture that resembles orange peel. It can appear pinkish or slightly reddish, and sometimes only in one area. Many women confuse this with irritation from fabric, friction, or even from wearing a tight sports bra. But when your skin looks different and stays that way, it's time to pay attention. Healthy breast skin is smooth, soft, and even. If you start seeing dimples or changes in the surface that weren't there before, your body might be trying to tell you something important. The second silent sign is a shift in the nipple. It might start pointing inward when it used to face forward, or it might flatten or change shape. Sometimes the color darkens or lightens without reason. These are small differences, but they carry meaning. The nipple is connected deeply to the tissue inside the breast. When something changes beneath the surface, the nipple can respond to that tension. Discharge that appears out of nowhere or dry, flaky skin around the nipple are also quiet messages from your body. They don't always mean cancer, but they always mean check it. Then there's the feeling that your breast is somehow heavier or tighter than usual. Not pain, but weight. You might feel this when putting on your bra or lifting your arm. Some women describe it as if one breast suddenly doesn't move the same way as the other. This happens when the internal structure of the breast starts to change. You may not see it right away, but you can sense it if you slow down long enough to listen. At this point, I want to pause and ask you something important. Have you ever noticed a small change in your breast and wondered if it was nothing or something you should mention? Write in the comments. I've felt that too. Your comment might be the reason another woman decides to check herself today. You could literally help save someone's life by sharing your experience. The third silent sign hides where we least expect it, under the arm or near the collarbone. This is an area that many women forget to check. You might feel a small swelling, a soft puffiness, or tenderness when applying deodorant or lotion. Most of the time, this area contains lymph nodes, part of the body's drainage system that helps fight infection. But when cancer cells begin to travel, the lymph nodes can swell. It doesn't always hurt, and sometimes it feels like nothing more than a small pad under the skin. This is one of those quiet warnings that almost nobody talks about, and it's why every self-exam should include the underarm and the area just above the breast, near the collarbone. The fourth silent sign is a change in warmth or color. If you notice redness that doesn't go away, or your breast feels warmer than usual to the touch, it's important not to ignore it. Many women mistake this for a mild infection or a reaction to a new cream or soap. But persistent warmth, redness, or swelling can be early signs of inflammatory breast cancer, a form that doesn't always create a lump. It starts with inflammation, making the skin look irritated or bruised. Early attention here can make all the difference. And then there is the fifth and most hidden of all, fatigue that has no clear reason. This kind of tiredness feels different. It doesn't lift after a good night's sleep or a quiet weekend. It sits in your bones and makes even simple tasks feel heavier. When your body is fighting something deep inside, it uses energy in ways you can't see. Sometimes fatigue is the first signal that your body is struggling long before you can feel anything else. I've heard countless stories of women who said they just couldn't shake their exhaustion. They thought it was stress, hormones, or the normal rhythm of life. But when they finally went for a checkup, they discovered it was their body's way of asking for help. It's not about being paranoid or fearful. It's about being aware. When your energy fades without reason and your intuition tells you something is off, that's the time to pause and listen. If this conversation is making you reflect on your own body right now, take a moment to like this video. It helps YouTube deliver this message to more women who might need it today. Every like and comment spreads awareness that can truly save lives. What makes these signs so dangerous is not how strong they are, but how gentle they appear. A small change in the mirror, a slight shift in the way your bra fits, a warm area that you barely notice, a fatigue that you keep blaming on your busy life. These signs whisper, and if we don't know how to listen, they can go unnoticed until the cancer grows louder. But here's what I want every woman to know. Silence doesn't mean safety. The earlier you pay attention, the easier it is to act. Awareness gives you control. It allows you to take one step before the disease does. That's the secret no one tells you. Catching cancer early often begins with your own eyes, your own hands, your own intuition. You don't have to know what every symptom means. You don't have to diagnose yourself. You just need to recognize when something isn't normal for you. Every woman's breast is different, but every woman can learn what her normal looks like. That's your baseline. That's your power. Tonight, when you're getting ready for bed, take one quiet minute in front of the mirror, not to judge your body, but to observe it. Look for differences in the skin, the color, the shape. Raise your arms slowly and notice how your breasts move. If you feel something unusual, write it down and check again after a few days. If it stays, call your healthcare team. You're not overreacting. You're protecting yourself. One of the most harmful myths I've seen is the idea that small signs should wait until they get worse. That's a mistake many women regret. Doctors would rather examine something harmless 100 times than miss one early cancer. You deserve that attention. You deserve that peace of mind. And if you've already had breast surgery or treatment, knowing your body becomes even more important. Sometimes new scars, tissue changes, or lymphedema can mask small signals. That's why touching, observing, and noticing are acts of self-love, not fear, love. You might be thinking right now that all of this sounds overwhelming, but it's actually very simple. You don't need special equipment or complex techniques, just awareness. Look, touch, and trust yourself. Those 3 actions form a line of defense more powerful than any statistic. And if you're still in doubt, here's something to remember. No woman who ever caught her cancer early regretted paying attention. Every single one of them said the same thing afterward. I'm glad I didn't wait. So let this be your reminder today. Your body speaks. It doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers through skin texture, warmth, or fatigue. Sometimes it speaks through intuition. Listen, take care of yourself the way you take care of everyone else. If this message made sense to you, subscribe to this channel. Here, you'll never be alone. Every week, we bring honest, simple explanations that help you feel safer, calmer, and more confident through every phase, before, during, and after treatment. Click subscribe and be part of a community that truly understands what you're going through. Remember, awareness is not fear, it's love. It's choosing to live with attention and courage. Because the earlier you listen to your body, the sooner you give yourself the chance to heal. And that's something every woman deserves. Sometimes the body doesn't speak loudly because it wants us to listen softly. The signs of breast cancer are not always dramatic, and that's what makes them so easy to miss. You might be standing in front of your mirror, half-dressed for work, rushing through your morning routine, and not notice the tiny ripple of skin that wasn't there before. You might feel a brief itch under your arm and think it's just dry skin. You might roll over at night and sense that one side of your chest feels heavier. These moments disappear quickly in the noise of everyday life, but they are often the very moments that matter most. The truth is that most women don't ignore these signs because they don't care. They ignore them because they believe they're not important enough. There was a patient who had just recovered from her surgery. Every evening, she applied her cream carefully around her scar, following her doctor's instructions. One night, while doing that same routine, she noticed a light swelling under her arm. It didn't hurt, so she brushed it off, assuming it was still healing tissue. 2 months later, it was still there. That's when she decided to check again. And what she found out changed everything. It was a small lymph node reacting to early lymphedema. She caught it in time and avoided major complications. This simple act of paying attention made her recovery smoother and gave her peace of mind. Awareness saves more than lives. It saves suffering. That's why I often say awareness is an everyday habit, not something you do once a month. It's not about fear or checking obsessively. It's about being familiar with your own body, knowing what feels right and what doesn't. The earlier you recognize a change, the earlier you can take care of it. And that doesn't just apply to cancer. It applies to infections, scar tissue, and post-surgical healing too. Let's talk about something that many women don't realize: how small daily habits can hide these silent signs. Some women wear tight bras thinking they'll help shape the body after surgery. But too much pressure can cause swelling and irritation that makes it harder to notice changes in the skin. Others avoid touching the area out of fear or discomfort, which is completely understandable after surgery. But gentle touch is not your enemy. It's your connection to healing. When you touch your skin softly, you learn how it feels when everything is fine. That's what helps you recognize when something is different. If you are listening right now and thinking that you haven't really looked at your scar or touched the area in weeks because it's still emotional or uncomfortable, I want to remind you that healing is not just physical. It's emotional too. You can start slowly, even if it's just a brief moment every few days. The goal isn't to find something wrong. The goal is to reconnect with your body with kindness. Now, imagine this. You're getting dressed in the morning, and you notice your bra feels tighter on one side. You adjust it and keep going, telling yourself maybe it shrank a bit in the wash. But a few days later, that same side still feels heavier or slightly swollen. That's not something to ignore. It doesn't necessarily mean cancer, but it means something is happening that deserves a look. It could be fluid buildup, inflammation, or even a small infection. Many women delay seeking help because they're afraid of hearing bad news. But getting checked is not inviting fear. It's protecting peace. I want to ask you something now because your story might help another woman who's afraid to look. Have you ever felt that your bra suddenly fit differently on one side, or that one breast felt heavier or warmer than the other? Write in the comments. I've noticed that too. When you share, you remind others that they're not alone and that paying attention isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Let's go deeper into how these changes can show up quietly in everyday life. When you're in the shower, water runs over your skin, and that's the perfect moment to notice texture and movement. Use the flat part of your fingers, not the tips. Feel for areas that feel thicker, firmer, or less flexible. These are subtle signs, and catching them early can mean discovering something long before it becomes serious. After surgery or treatment, your doctor may have explained how to avoid lifting heavy objects or stretching too much, but few explain how important touch and observation are in the months that follow. That's where many women get lost, between medical instructions and real life. You might also notice tiny sensations like warmth or tingling that seem to come and go. The skin may feel tighter at the end of the day, or more sensitive when you lean against something. These are not always dangerous signs, but they're part of your body's language. When something changes, the body sends signals. Some are loud, like pain or fever. Others are soft, like warmth or mild itching. Learning to notice those quiet signals is what makes you powerful. Here's another mistake that happens often. After finishing treatment, many women want to move on quickly and never think about cancer again. That's completely natural. But in this desire to close the chapter, they sometimes stop observing their body altogether. The truth is that recovery is not just about healing what was hurt. It's about protecting what's healthy. Post-surgery skin can look and feel different for a long time. New scars can tighten or swell slightly, but persistent redness, firmness, or pain should always be checked. It's better to confirm it's just healing tissue than to regret not asking. I know that sometimes even touching your scar can bring back emotions you'd rather not feel. The memory of what you went through can live in your skin. But here's the gentle truth. Every time you touch the area with love, you teach your body that it's safe again. You teach yourself that you're not afraid anymore. That small act of care can change the way you see yourself and give you confidence to notice when something changes. If you're finding this explanation helpful, consider leaving a like on this video. It might seem simple, but it helps this information reach other women who are searching for answers right now. Sometimes a single video can be the reason someone decides to check themselves tonight. Let's talk about another silent clue that often hides behind routine: fatigue. It's easy to underestimate how exhausting recovery or even early illness can be. You might wake up tired and think it's just the stress of daily life. But if your tiredness doesn't match your effort, if you're resting and still feeling drained, that's your body asking for attention. Fatigue can appear before any visible symptom. It can appear even when your blood work looks perfect. It's a signal from deep inside that something needs care. Here's what I often tell women. You know your energy better than anyone. When your body feels different, don't dismiss it just because it's invisible. You don't need proof to listen to yourself. Write down how you feel each day. Patterns tell stories. If you see that your fatigue is growing without reason, bring that note to your doctor. It helps them understand what's happening beyond the test results. You might also notice subtle emotional changes that come with physical shifts. Irritability, sadness, or anxiety that seem to appear without clear reason. These emotions are not weakness. They're part of how the body expresses imbalance. When the body fights inflammation or hormonal disruption, mood changes can follow. The mind and body are always connected. There's something else I want to highlight because it's rarely discussed. After breast surgery, the arm on the operated side needs special care. If you ever notice swelling, tightness, or tingling in that arm, don't delay speaking with your team. These are early signs of lymphedema. Simple habits can help prevent it, like keeping the skin moisturized, avoiding burns or cuts, and not carrying heavy bags on that arm. But the key is early observation. The earlier you act, the easier it is to manage. Awareness is a form of peace, not pressure. It's not about constantly searching for what's wrong. It's about staying connected to yourself. When you know your body well, you can rest easier because you trust yourself. You know that if something changes, you'll catch it early. Sometimes women tell me they feel guilty for missing signs. I always remind them that guilt doesn't heal anything. Awareness does. What matters is what you do next. The past cannot be changed, but your attention today can change your future. Before we end this part, let me leave you with something to reflect on tonight. When was the last time you really looked at yourself without judgment? Not to criticize, not to check for flaws, but simply to notice and care. Your body has been through so much, and it still shows up for you every day. Every breath, every heartbeat, every small sign. That's your body keeping you alive and asking for partnership. If this video brought you calm or clarity, I invite you to subscribe. Here, you'll always find a place of understanding, guidance, and care. Every week, we talk about real things that happen before, during, and after breast cancer. We make them simple, human, and honest. Click subscribe and be part of this space where you're never alone. And if you remember just one thing from today, let it be this. The body rarely keeps secrets. It gives you hints through the skin, the energy, the warmth, the texture. Don't wait for pain. Pain is the body's shout. Awareness is its whisper. Listen to the whisper. It's where healing begins. When everything finally gets quiet at night, when the lights go off and the house rests, that's often when the thoughts come. The what-ifs, the memories, the fears. Many women who have faced breast cancer or are afraid of it say the same thing. It's not just the body that changes. It's the silence that follows. That silence can be heavy, filled with questions that don't have simple answers. What if it comes back? What if I miss a sign next time? What if I never feel completely safe again? These are questions that live in the heart of almost every woman who has walked this path, and they deserve more than reassurance. They deserve understanding. The truth is, living aware doesn't mean living afraid. Awareness is power, not punishment. It's knowing what to look for and what to let go of. It's realizing that you can't control everything, but you can control how closely you listen to your own body. You've learned that breast cancer isn't always loud. It can whisper through the smallest things: a texture, a shadow, a change that doesn't hurt. But here's the beautiful part. Once you know these whispers exist, they lose their power to surprise you. You see them coming. You meet them with calm. That's the difference awareness makes. One evening, a woman was brushing her hair in front of her bathroom mirror. She had finished treatment months earlier and was finally beginning to feel like herself again. Her hair was growing, her smile returning. But as she lifted her arm, she noticed a faint warmth in the skin near her collarbone. For a moment, fear tried to take over, but instead of ignoring it, she took a deep breath and called her doctor. It turned out to be mild inflammation. Nothing serious, easily treated. But what mattered most was that she didn't wait in silence. She didn't let fear win. That single moment of attention was her victory. That's the heart of this whole message. Catching small things before they grow, not because you live worried, but because you live aware. It's a simple shift in the way you treat yourself. You start to check your body the same way you check on the people you love, gently, patiently, every day. You start to see awareness as self-respect, not fear. Many women ask how often they should check themselves or what exact method they should use. The answer is simpler than it sounds. Once a month, after your period if you still have one, or on a chosen date if you don't, spend a few quiet minutes looking and feeling. But beyond that, just stay present with your body. If something changes between those checks, notice it. There's no rigid rule. The real secret is consistency and curiosity. You don't need medical training to protect yourself. You need connection. Look for what's normal for you: your color, your texture, your shape. Remember that breasts naturally differ slightly from each other. What matters is when something new appears that doesn't fade away. That's when you reach out to your healthcare team. Now, I want to talk about something few people explain clearly: what to avoid when you're healing or living after breast surgery. After mastectomy or reconstruction, the skin and tissue need time to adapt. Many women make small mistakes without realizing. Lifting heavy objects too soon can cause swelling and slow healing. Sleeping on the operated side before your doctor clears it can cause discomfort and stretch the scar. Driving too early can strain the arm and chest muscles. And one of the most common, measuring blood pressure or taking injections on the operated side, should be avoided because it can increase the risk of swelling or lymphedema. These are simple but crucial precautions that doctors sometimes mention quickly, but real life moves differently, and reminders like these help you stay safe without anxiety. You can also protect your recovery by being gentle with temperature. Avoid long hot baths or sitting too close to heat sources like stoves or heaters on the side that had surgery. Heat expands blood vessels and can cause discomfort or swelling. Choose warm showers instead of hot ones, and pat your skin dry carefully instead of rubbing. Small habits like these make healing easier. Food is another quiet ally in this journey. You don't need extreme diets or expensive supplements. The best protection comes from simple, natural foods. Fresh fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and enough protein through beans, eggs, fish, or chicken help your cells rebuild. Hydration is key too. Not too much all at once, but small amounts of water through the day to keep your body working smoothly. Reducing alcohol and processed foods helps your liver and immune system do their jobs without extra burden. These are not restrictions. They're kindness to your body. Sometimes women ask if vitamins or supplements can speed up healing or prevent recurrence. It's important to remember that more is not always better. High doses of certain vitamins like E or strong antioxidants during treatment can interfere with therapies. some natural products that contain plant hormones might not be ideal for hormone-sensitive cancers. That's why every change you make, every capsule or tea you consider, should be discussed with your doctor. It's not about asking permission, it's about teamwork. Your healthcare team is there to guide you safely, not to control you. When you work together, you make better decisions. Now, let's talk about the emotional side of these silent signs. Fear often hides behind busyness. You keep yourself occupied so you don't have to think about it. But the body feels everything you suppress. Stress can cause fatigue, insomnia, even muscle tension that mimics pain. The best way to protect yourself is not to avoid fear, but to face it with compassion. When you feel anxiety creeping in, pause. Take a slow breath. Place your hand over your heart and remind yourself that awareness is not danger. It's preparation. There's something incredibly powerful that happens when you turn fear into attention. Instead of asking, "What if it comes back?" ask, "What can I do today to live well?" Sleep enough, move gently, nourish yourself, stay connected with people who lift you up. These are the quiet, everyday shields that strengthen your body and calm your mind. Healing doesn't stop when treatment ends. Healing continues every day you choose to care for yourself consciously. Let's take a moment for you to reflect. What's the one change you've promised yourself, but keep postponing because life gets in the way? Maybe it's scheduling that follow-up appointment. Maybe it's organizing your medications. Maybe it's walking outside for 10 minutes a day. Write it in the comments. I'll start today. When you share, you make a commitment to yourself and inspire another woman to do the same. One of the most healing habits you can create is a nightly check-in with your body. Before bed, take 5 quiet minutes. Breathe, stretch lightly, and notice how your body feels. If something feels off, note it. You don't have to panic or Google it at midnight. Just write it down. If it's still there in a few days, call your doctor. That's awareness without anxiety. It turns fear into action, and that's how peace grows. Let's also talk about rest, because it's often overlooked. Sleep is when your body repairs itself. Many women in recovery struggle with insomnia, especially after surgery or hormonal treatments. A simple bedtime routine can make a huge difference. Dim the lights an hour before bed, avoid screens, take a warm shower, wear soft loose clothes, and make sure your room is cool and quiet. Use pillows to support your arms and shoulders so you don't strain your healing side. The body heals faster when it sleeps well. There's a phrase I often repeat because it carries so much truth. Healing is not a race. Your timeline is your own. Comparing your recovery to someone else's will only bring frustration. Each woman's body tells a different story, and yours deserves patience. Some scars soften quickly, others take longer. Some regain strength fast, others need more time. Both are normal. The goal is not perfection. The goal is comfort, safety, and confidence. If this message is helping you breathe a little easier, take a second to like this video. That simple gesture helps this message reach more women who may be feeling lost tonight. You never know who might need this calm reminder that awareness saves lives. As we close this series about the 5 silent signs of breast cancer, I want you to remember one thing above all. Your body wants to protect you. It gives you signs, not to scare you, but to guide you. When you see dimples, warmth, swelling, fatigue, or changes in shape or color, don't be afraid. Just act. Call your doctor, check it out, and move forward. Awareness doesn't take away your peace. It gives it back. And if you're living with the fear of recurrence, know this. Fear is not weakness. It's love disguised as caution. It's your body's way of saying, stay close to me, pay attention, keep me safe. The way to answer that call is not with panic, but with care. The more you know, the calmer you become. The more you observe, the sooner you act. That's how you take power back from fear. So tonight, when you look in the mirror, don't look for flaws. Look for gratitude. You are here, breathing, learning, healing. Your story is still being written. The scars you carry are proof that you've lived through storms and are still standing. Let them remind you of your strength, not your pain. If this video touched your heart, I invite you to subscribe. Here, you are never alone. Every week, we share clear, honest conversations about breast health, recovery, and the emotional side of healing. We don't use complicated language. We use truth and care. Click subscribe and be part of this community that understands you, supports you, and believes in your power to live well. And remember this as you go to sleep. Tonight, early detection starts with you. The quiet signs we talked about are not enemies, they're signals. The more you learn to read them, the safer you are. You don't need to live waiting for the next scare. You can live awake, aware, and confident. That's what healing truly means. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let this truth settle in your heart. You are not fragile. You are resilient. You are not broken. You are rebuilding. And no matter what stage of this journey you are in, there is always light ahead. Awareness is not the end of peace. It's the beginning of it.